Welcome, folks, to the eighth episode of MoveMint Medicine. And, first of all, thanking all our partners, Fit India, thank you so much for being on board. And Back to Fitness, the clinic I run, Lal to the High, the race that we do in Ladakh, and Moving Mountains Within, so the movie that is full ultra. And today we have a special guest. We have Dr. Kevin Wyld. Thank you, Kevin, for agreeing to come on board.
Hello, not a problem, not a problem.
Darren, can you just go on and do a little introduction for Kevin?
Yeah, of course, it'd be an absolute pleasure. So it's absolutely fantastic that Kevin's agreed to come on board today. So Kevin was actually the course director for the degree program that I completed more than 10 years ago now. And he was obviously one of the inspirations for me to get into this area of exercise and fitness. So it's an absolute pleasure to have him today. So thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Not a problem, Darren. Where do you want me to start then?
So yeah, if you could just give us a bit of an overview as to sort of your background, sort of what you developed through the years in terms of your career and your profession, and how sort of exercise and fitness was intertwined in that.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, it all starts off as a boy, really. I started off playing sport. I love sport. My family come from a sporting background. My dad used to play football at a quite high level. And at school, we was encouraged to play sport. There was no real evidence out there, but it was just, get out there, play sport on a Saturday morning, our school teachers. And then I moved on, and then I joined the army straight after leaving school. No qualifications, because I hated school, as I keep on telling everybody, and I still do. And in the army, big on sport again and physical activity. I learned to ski, I played football, I played rugby. And then for some reason, and I still don't know why, I left the army. And I was on the dole for a year, or unemployed for a year. And in them times, I couldn't get a job. I just couldn't get a job. But what kept me going, I played sport, I ran, I played squash a lot in a local league. And it just kept me going, both mentally and physically, and just something to do. I then joined the prison service, Her Majesty's Prison Service, and ended up as a physical training instructor at a place called Aylesbury Young Offenders. So it was working with under 21s. And I played, again, rugby, football. But I actually did it with them. I actually played rugby and football with them. Also played rugby outside as well. Got into resistance training quite heavily. And as I went on, I realised I wanted more than just working with prisoners. And I had no job satisfaction. I did some voluntary work at a local hospital in Aylesbury, Stoke Mandeville, with their spinal unit, and I realised that there was more to it than just kicking a ball or lifting a weight. So I ended up doing an undergraduate degree in sport and exercise science at De Montfort University. And from there, I resigned from the prison service and ended up as a lecturer. And as you are, Darren, you were on my first cohort in that degree. As I was going along, I went from sport, and as I got older, I started to see more and more things happening both in my personal life and professional life. And I started to realise, hey, we should be exercising. It's not just about sport. And everybody should be exercising or being more active. And I've just gone on, and I've ended up starting an exercise clinic at the University of Bedfordshire, which I work at. And there I encourage people with type 2 diabetes. We've got early dementia coming in, people with obese, people who've had heart attacks, people with mental health problems coming in, and just started to work with cancer patients as well to help them to get through their surgeries, and also the rehabilitation after they've had surgeries and the chemotherapy. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm getting heavily into with the cancer patients at the moment, and diabetes, because I believe that we should all be exercising and all be more active. So that's where we are down at the moment.
Fantastic. That's a great story, and it's a great place to finish on as well.
My experiences are probably not been conventional in some of the aspects. I've worked with in the prison service with lots of people, a lot of teenagers with a lot of mental health problems, a lot of aggression, and the exercise has helped with their keeping them sane, shall we say, keeping them under control as well, and keeping their heads together. So yeah, and even our students, exercise is helping them and taking people. It's helping the students as well. So it is interesting, and you keep on learning every day. There's no 2 days the same, and there's no two people the same neither. So where one aspect of exercise will help one, it may not help another one. And how you are with people as well. What one person you might be able to swear at, curse at them, and the other one you've got to be really fluffy and nice and cajole them to actually do anything. And it is interesting. It is, and because I've had experience in every way, I can actually put that over quite well. I hope anyway.
Yeah, okay, well,
there we go.
Yeah, so you kind of answered the question I had, but why personal trainers and GPs and exercise referral specialists? Why do they become in prescribing exercises? Because supposedly the doctors know it all, and people know it all as well. So where does this happen then?
Oh, when did it happen? Yeah, when we started. I'll be honest. I think it's only just started recently that we've all started to work together. The GPs, personal trainers, exercise practitioners. Over the years, especially over the last 10 years, I would say that the research is more and more is going to say, hey, exercise is good. We should be doing this. We should not be sitting down. And I think more and more doctors are coming on board with exercise as preventative and also helping through surgeries. We are just working with Professor Rob Thomas, an oncologist at Bedford Hospital. He's a big advocate on exercise. He's a big advocate on walking football now and just being active, because he's finding that it helps people get through the surgery. It helps them in the rehabilitation, not only physically, but also mentally as well. And I think more and more doctors are coming on board. However, I think I'm right in saying this, is that about exercise is not in a medical degree at the moment, but I do know that they are actually looking at putting it in so doctors know about exercise, how to do it. Because I've had a few conversations with a couple of GPs. One GP said to me a couple of years ago, tell me one condition and disease that exercise doesn't help with. It might not actually cure, but even if it just makes them feel better, it actually makes them, working with other people in the same situation and stop being isolated. So doctors are coming more and more on board because there is more and more research coming out, and in the research in the journals that doctors are reading, like the British Medical Journal and the Lancet, that actual exercise is coming out. So more and more doctors are actually reading it, thinking, hey, we need to be a part of this, because it could also save us money as well, and then that money could go to other things that can't help. Exercise can't help, and be more productive that way. So yeah, exercise is coming on board, but over here there's still a little bit of barriers between exercise GPs and exercise practitioners. But I think the reason behind that is just because of the GP's workload, especially at this moment in time with what's going on in the world. But there is a bit of a barrier where exercise practitioners are finding it hard to get GPs to actually prescribe exercise and make them come to those people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'd just like to touch on that, if that's okay, Kev. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you actually mentioned about sort of the medical degree curriculum and how exercise really isn't as much a part of that as it should be. We actually touched on it yesterday in the podcast with a GP, and he very much advocates that, it should be more of a part of the medical degree. But just in terms of sort of personal trainers, how do you see the industry at the moment in the UK? Is it as advanced enough as it should be? And then how do you think sort of across the world, how do sort of personal trainers, how are they seen across the world in terms of their sort of level of qualification and what they can do?
Right. That's a good question, Darren, because there's two types of personal trainers in the UK. We've got those who have done the vocational qualifications, and you can get them quite quickly. You get them roughly within 3 months to be a personal trainer. And then you've got the other side of personal training where they've done a degree, maybe a master's degree. So you're talking 4 or 5 years of study to be where they are. However, I have, and as probably you as well, I've seen some very, very good personal trainers who've just done the vocational qualifications. And I've seen some absolutely awful personal trainers who've got the 4 or 5 year degrees, personal trainers. Me personally, I'd like to see the personal training go down the more of the degree route where they've actually studied, because you're working with people and people are very complicated. They're more complicated than computers. So you need to have that basic understanding. And I don't think doing online learning with a couple of practical days to be able to be a personal trainer and work with people who've got type 2 diabetes, who's had a heart attack, or any of those sorts of issues. So I think my view is that it should be like the American way, where you do have to have a degree, where there is actually a degree. But I think with the UK as well, I don't think it's as recognised with the National Health Service as well as what it should be. To me, we should have careers in the National Health Service for exercise practitioners, just like physiotherapists. But you've got to have the right level of understanding, which is degree level, where you've been to university, you understand how the body works, how these diseases actually work on the body, and how exercise could actually help those people. Not only that, what about the research side of things as well? Understand what's coming out in research to be able to understand the research paper and also be able to implement it if it's good research or not. So that's where I am with it all.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, of
course.
If we're looking at it globally, I think the Western world is coming up, and I think Asia, India, I just started to understand that we are actually exercise is getting up there, and they need to be thinking about it. I do know that the register of exercise professionals is now in India, and it's recognised over there. I don't know much about the qualifications over there and how it is, but I think everybody should be exercising. It doesn't matter what gender, age, or culture you're from. We should all be doing something. So we need people properly qualified to be able to take these people.
Yeah, I just wonder whether Rajat would be able to make a comment on sort of the state of the health and fitness industry and the sort of professional qualifications in India.
Yeah, so Darren, not only India, but UK as well. So what's happening, and this is taking on from yesterday's conversation. So as much as there's been talk about introducing and doing more of exercise-related education in our curriculums, undergrad and postgrad, even in medicine, there's only talk, and that these papers that have been coming out in BJSM and BMJ and all that, nothing's happened with that. So all those results are there, that how effective it'll be. Curriculums haven't changed, whether in India, US, UK, wherever else. So I think that's very important, because as much as our curriculums are they're very busy, they're very tight.
Yeah.
But, nothing's being done. I mean, I would go to the extent of saying it's not a healthcare industry. It's a sickness and illness industry. So we are very good with infections. We are very good with diseases. But when it comes to a healthy person, making them healthier or using exercise, we are useless. Useless is the word. So Kevin, taking it on from there, exercise and cancer. Now the thing is, the problem I have as an oncologist, if I were an oncologist, I'm very worried to tell my patient to do anything more. And the patient, on the other hand, will only listen to the oncologist. And the oncologist wants to play it very safe. So how does exercise and cancer, as much as we know it works, I mean, when I've been in these conferences for cancer and exercise, the oncologist wanted to kill me because, I was talking about exercise and exercise. And they're like, can you shut up, right? We want to operate and we want to give you those drugs and whatever else. And they want to play it very safe. Now, how do we mix it then?
Oh, I think we've got to get the oncologists on board. Now, an oncologist would tell, as you know, you could tell a patient to stand on the head. If it's going to make them better, they'll listen to you, whether it's right or wrong. And I think it's coming through the research, and it's the oncologists we've got to get on board about the exercise. and and I know the research is good. Right? So I'm lucky. We've got Professor Rob Thomas at the hospital, who's a massive advocate on exercise for all his patients, and you know he's referring them to me. How we do it? Yeah, it's a good one. I found a lot of the doctors are no. I'm going to retract that. They're coming more on board. I'd say you're coming more on board. But I'm finding that they haven't got the time to sit with somebody and say, look, you've got to exercise, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Because they haven't got the time. As you well know, that you haven't got time to sit with a patient for an hour trying to cajole them to do this exercise. So it's a hard one. And I'm still in the embryonic stage of actually trying to get this going more because of the situation we've had to close down at the moment because there's the virus that's going round. But I'm lucky. But we are looking at doing some research so we can actually with Professor Rob Thomas to actually show that exercise does help with men with advanced prostate cancer. So we could get the research out there so other oncologists across the world can actually say, hey, this is the right thing to be looking at to help my patients so that when they go into the surgery, there's going to be less complications after the surgery and also through their rehabilitation. So the oncologist hasn't got to do as much throughout. It can actually, it will help them. And that's what we've got to get over to them. And you're right. You know, a lot of them don't want to come on board at this moment. And it is. The evidence is just coming through. It's coming through and it's getting people on board. It's like it's trying to change when the wheel was going one way all the time, it's trying to stop it and trying to, hey, come on, we've got to change it. We've got to put the brakes on and change it and go the other way. So I think it's going to be a long process. I don't think it's going to just change overnight. But I do think if we could get about exercise in the medical degrees, over time, it should change. It should change. Probably after I retired, it's an honest answer, but hopefully it would change quicker than that. And I think it is starting to change. I do see, but I've talked to GPs, and they haven't said we haven't got the time to sit there with and talk about exercise. We haven't got. We're under so much pressure to see the next patient. We've got 6-7 minutes to see somebody, and then we've got to see somebody else. And I think it's just having that time to actually, or people or underneath the oncologist that can actually help support the oncologist to actually say, look, exercise could be a good thing for you to do, to get you through your surgery, to get you through your rehabilitation. And that's the way I think, yeah, it is hard. It is hard to change.
So do you think there could be different types of exercise that are suitable for different cancer patients? So, for example, you know, would aerobic exercise be more beneficial than strength training for someone else?
I'm a great believer that any exercise is good for you. I'm a great believer in also getting that if I could get that person to come in once and keep him coming back in again and he's enjoying it, my job's done. Sometimes though, I throw the book out the window. I must admit, I throw the book out the window. And I could give you an example. I've just been working with a patient who's got blood cancer. He's an ex-police officer. He's retired. He's an ex-professional bodybuilder. From there, I've seen some videos of him, and he was a proper, well-cut, well-developed. And now you wouldn't know that. And he did a course with Matt Millen. Matt Millen's our charity. As you know, Darren, it's a charity that supports cancer and helps patients get through it, shall we say. And he got referred to me, and I saw him outside our building, and I went out to him, and I got him in, and all I did was sit him on a bike. 45 minutes on a bike. And would you know what all we talked about was women? That's all we talked about. I didn't do anything else with him. I just sat him on a bike, and I got him laughing. I said, there you go, you've done 45 minutes. And he was in tears because he didn't think he could do 5 minutes on a bike. Because he's out of breath all the time. So next time he's texting me, when can I do it again? When can I do it again? So the next time I got him on a bike again, talking again. He did an hour. And then I've built him up so he's actually doing weights. I'm a great advocate of that he should be doing both. Aerobic to improve your heart, your blood, but also resistance training to keep your muscle mass up, the quality of your muscle, and also for you to be able to get up the stairs. That needs strength. Getting out of a chair needs strength. So I'm a big advocate that you should do both. Now, you could go down if it's rehabilitation. You know, if they've had breast cancer, then they've had to have a surgery on there. Then you've got to do other things on rehab and to bring up things. So it depends on who you have. But in general, I try to work around everything, including balance. Because balance can be a big thing as well. I've had a patient who's had balance issues. So I try to, it can be. Overall, I try to look at everything, but it depends on the patient, on the individual, and what they need, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Thank you.
But when we look at it, I'm a great believer that both aerobic and resistance training should be done for healthy people as well. So, you know, we should be all doing both.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kevin. And no Kevin, what about myths and misconceptions in the space?
Oh, in what respect?
Like, you know, again, since we're talking about cancer, like, you know, should exercises be done at all? And, you know, if someone's a survivor, is there a role of exercises in that? What about prevention? You know, so.
Yeah, yes, you're right. We're still living in, like, well, at this moment in time, we're all locked down. I know you are in your country as well. We're locked down. We can't do a lot. But a lot of people don't like exercising. In my day, when I was a young lad at school and even in the army, it was painful. It was hard. Not everybody liked it. And, you know, getting hot and sweaty, you see that hot and sweaty in it, exercise can hurt. It hurts. It's not enjoyable. I don't mind it because I'm used to it. I enjoy it. Might not. I'm going to go on the rower later, and if you talk to me while I'm on the rower, you'll probably get sworn at. But afterwards, after a shower, I feel great. But not everybody likes it. We know that, and it's hard as professional. It's trying to get people to actually show them that any exercise is good for them. Sitting down is not what we should be doing, and it's hard to get this over to them. Take for instance, now I don't know. Over here, there's a lot of celebrities doing their workouts, stay-at-home workouts at this moment in time, and a lot of personal trainers on Instagram and Facebook are all putting these what you should be doing at home. Now we could look at it and go, well, that's wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong, you're doing that wrong, you know, you're not getting that right position. But if it gets people just standing there and doing that exercise, then it's to me, it's right. Whether it's that exercise is actually done wrong, as in the technique's not quite right, or it doesn't bother me as far as that person is moving. Now, if we talk about misconceptions, yeah, some people think that you should be like working right up to you, you know, so it really hurts. It really hurts, and we don't need to be able to do that. We could do it where you're just out of breath, where you're just doing a bit more than what you're used to doing. Now, that could be walking a bit further than you used to. It could be walking upstairs more than you used to. It could be doing press-ups against a wall that you're not being used to doing. So it's doing things that you're not used to do. And people don't quite understand that running, you don't have to run a marathon to be fitter and healthier. It's just doing more than what you've been doing in the past or yesterday. And now that's all it is. But there is a big misconception, that exercise is, you know, it is hard. It can be hard. But it depends how much you want to do it, how much you want to push yourself as well. How's that?
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. I think that's a really key message that, you know, in the sort of the health and fitness space, the science and the medicine, we can talk about things like progressive overload and the particular terminologies that people might use. But the simple message to the public is do more. You should be looking to do a little bit more and pushing yourself that much further. And it really doesn't have to hurt. As long as you feel as if you're progressing, then you're making fantastic progress in itself.
I mean, you can say about, you just said the words there, Darren. We all know what progressive is. We all know what overload is. But does the public need to know that? All they need to know is that they just push themselves do a little bit more than what you're used to. And then when you're used to that, do a little bit more than what you're doing. And just build yourself that. You know, as well, you know, the American College of Sports Medicine, the recommendations, minimum recommendations should be 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise on most days of the week. A lot of people can't do that. If you can only walk for 10 minutes, walk for 12 minutes then. Walk for 15 minutes. Try and walk for 15 minutes. Try and walk for 20 minutes. To me, it's that if you can only lift the tin of beans up, then try and lift 2 tins of beans up and for 5 times. And it's just simple things like that to make yourself more fitter and stronger and more healthier. It doesn't have to be going to a gym and lifting a big barbell and trying to run for 40, 50 minutes as fast as you can. That's not what it's about. Yes, people do that, but those people are ones who've probably been doing exercise for a long time. The normal person on the street who's not used to doing things, start off nice and steady and just have little goals of trying to do a bit more each day. And that's where I think we should be looking at. And that's how personal trainers and even doctors should be telling people to do that more.
Yeah, that's a great message.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks a lot for this, enlightening, if it were, all the people out there. So it was brilliant talking to you.
Yeah, no problem. You're more than welcome.
So we'll close it here. And Kevin, thanks a lot. Darren, thanks a lot. And we'll catch up with the next episode soon. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
See you later.